companies can pay women less,
Yes.
why don't they hire all women?
Well, that's a whole nother story.
Really?
I understand your argument, and I understand that you're angry.
I'm not angry.
I can
no.
hear it in your voice. Listen
not
to
angry.
your voice.
I'm hearing my
Now
voice and I sound pretty calm.
You have now shifted the quality of your voice, and I thank you for that.
Okay.
And you've just given me a condescending look, and that's another reason why we need feminism. And now I'm done, and thank you so much.
How much money should a guy have in his bank account for you to take him serious?
Yeah, like 20,000. Yeah, at least. Yeah.
20,000 sounds good.
How much do you guys have in your bank account right now?
Hi, you're
I don't like this question. I got 1,100 today.
like 1,001 and then like 500 in another.
Makes perfect sense.
Y'all ever noticed how men are so okay with just living life, doing the same mundane thing every single day? Job, career, whatever it is. They're okay with it. You can eat the same thing, do the same thing every single day.
For many of these women out there saying ridiculous things like this, the question often answers itself. For men, work, albeit sometimes mundane, has a purpose. It's not laying hammer to nail or finger to key that makes it all worthwhile, although it sometimes can be. It's the fulfillment that comes with knowing that you have enough money and flexibility to provide for those you care about. And somewhere along the way, women started to feel that they were supposed to provide and not be provided for. The feminist hive mind made them start to think that all of the feminine characteristics that gave them value were, at the very most, just an optional bonus, and that they could do anything that men could do if they just put their minds to it. Well, one look at the tech exodus, and you can see that this wasn't just incorrect, but completely impossible. To bring it home, let's see how the blind lead the blind in this story. How the tech industry broke the promises it made to women. When Nadine Salim was interviewing with her dream role at Amazon, she remembers a specific moment in the interview process. I was like, look, I'm nervous, I'm pregnant, are you guys sure about this? She said. Salim got the job at Amazon and quit another job, a good one at a vulnerable time.
You're not built for this, boys.
But Amazon, like so many tech companies, had great maternity leave benefits. Benefits that were designed, in part, to attract women to jobs in a male-dominated industry. So, when she stepped away from work to have her baby, Salim felt pretty good.
Great idea.
Then, just weeks into her time away, with a newborn at home, Salim got an email. She learned she was one of hundreds of thousands of workers who had been laid off from their very good benefit-heavy tech jobs earlier this year. Women were overrepresented in the recent wave of tech layoffs, and many got the news while they were out on maternity leave.
Because you weren't in there.
On a recent episode of What Next? TBD, I spoke to the New York Times' Emma Goldberg about why so many women in tech lost their jobs, and how the tech industry can avoid doubling down on past mistakes. Well, before Emma Goldberg here gives what I could only think to be a garbled feminist mess of a list, this is what it really comes down to. Just recently, I talked about how single moms are losing, and this might as well apply to any woman in the workforce. And why? Because they just aren't built to work, no matter how much they continue to insist that they are. It really all comes down to the fact that businesses, or anything for that matter, only work properly as people are, well, actually where they're supposed to be. When the tech companies were explosive, they did everything they could to represent themselves as feminist utopias, ready to move into a period of supposed enlightenment where men and women could share the workload in the name of progress. But the thing is, this was a pipe dream. Not only because women just don't know how to work at a man's pace, but because mentally they aren't biologically equipped to handle their own obligations while trying to match masculine demands.
Did you see that conversation that AOC had with that man they brought in for the Biden case? And they were talking about what crimes. She was like grilling this guy. What crimes did you see Joe Biden?
Did you witness the president commit a crime? Is it your testimony today?
Yes.
And what crime have you witnessed?
How much time do I have to go through it?
It is simple. You name the crime.
Did he steal anything? Did he steal bread?
Did you watch him steal something?
Corruption statutes, RICO, and conspiracy.
What is it? What is the crime, sir? Specifically.
You asked me to answer the question. I answered the question.
No.
RICO, you're obviously not familiar with. Corruption
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
What are you, my third wife's therapist?
What if weird how I ended up as a girl who works? I don't know how that happened.
I can tell you. It happened because women, who, although respectably joined the workforce to substitute during the Second World War, thought that being coddled by male management with half the productivity was the same as going at it alone with no man present to make sure the ship sailed straight. Moments like this, and many others, fueled the propaganda that women could do it all, that they could hold a demanding office job and raise an infant at the same time, which is why now you have chicks crying into the camera not realizing how it all went wrong. Emma Goldberg gives this explanation.
Lord, give me strength.
Hollywood offers some touch points. A lot of people have probably seen The Social Network, which encapsulates a lot of the vibe and the atmosphere of early tech. In the beginning, the industry got a lot of its energy from a sense of informality, a sense of less hierarchy, people sharing ideas with one another.
Yes, go on.
This idea that really young people were in charge of a lot of money and a lot of power, that principle really animated the industry for a while. There was a sense that it was kind of like no parents, no rules, and the companies were not structured like banks and law firms and these other embodiments of traditional corporate authority. It was a very male industry and continues to be in a lot of ways. When you think about the male-dominated nature of the industry, it really does go back to early in the pipeline. Men have been overrepresented for a long time in engineering programs, in software engineering, and women have struggled to break in and get the opportunities that men have.
Because they're not there.
At the same time, tech companies also came to embody this new idea of what an office could be, because they brought in more structures and more of a sense of rules, but they maintained a sense of fun and playfulness. Google was famous for having a big slide. There were companies that had happy hours and fitness classes on site, and that was really in the name of making people feel like they could just have their whole lives take place at the office. When you think about that type of work style best serves, of course, it's going to be people who don't have childcare responsibilities. So that system was still set up to best serve men. Wow, okay, I have to say I stand a little corrected here. Really thought she was going to jump into a conspiracy theory right away. That said, all of this comes with the tone that businesses should be modeled to favor women, which, given what has been pointed out so far, doesn't make a lick of sense. Lady, these tech companies were modeled for a life at work because, for the most part, a man's life is his work. Sure, having some kind of balance is preferable, but the fact of the matter is there isn't a lot out there that doesn't require sacrifice. I'm sure men welding on oil rigs would love to have the romantic life balance that female influencers preach about, but they understand that providing requires an immense amount of sacrifice. We'd be dealing with catastrophic consequences if men in these demanding positions just got up and left for 3 months of paternity leave, and that's what women just don't seem to get. And when they're told what is necessary to work out in the real world, they just refuse to hear it, relying on false stats to cultivate feelings of false superiority.
And by the way, 85% of cheaters are men.
That's a bold statement, seeing as 90% of the men on the Maury show are not the father. I'm just saying.
She's lying.
Okay, 1, putting up a camera like that to look cool in your car immediately nullifies the argument. And 2, I have to address this trend because it's ludicrous. I feel like I see one driving argument for every 20 clips, and it always has the same statistically incorrect or misleading claim about male drivers. The truth is that this statistic is often pulled by a broad global finding. In a place like the US, males do 62% of the driving, but only cause 58% of the accidents. And guess what, ladies? In most countries, women are often prohibited or discouraged from driving. And you know why? Because you parallel park like a toddler in a county fair, and spatial awareness for women is about as great as a Roomba planted at the top of Mount Everest. And that's why Goldberg makes this statement. What's important to bear in mind when you think about that number is that women only represented about 39% of the workforce overall. They might have been about 45% of the layoffs, but they were only 39% of the workforce. So the question is, why were women overrepresented in these mass layoffs?
And I could tell you.
One of the issues going on here is that laid-off workers were more likely to be in positions that tech companies might have been considering peripheral to the core work of the company. And that checks out when you think about the fact that men are still overrepresented in software engineering. So when tech companies are realizing they need to hit their diversity goals, they're going to hire women in positions, in parts of the company like HR or customer service, which in the minds of hiring managers play into the stereotypes of what they think women might be better at.
So, nothing.
It reveals what it really takes to diversify a company. In a lot of instances, when companies set goals around diversity, they're thinking about how to meet those goals in an aesthetic or public presenting way. They're like, we need to communicate to the public and to our own employees that we've hired X% of women, but they're not necessarily thinking about how to really bake that into the DNA of the company and make those gains sustainable. Okay, I'm actually kind of impressed that this chick is being so objective, but the key here, which is pointed out at the end, has to do with underrepresentation and overrepresentation. These companies toed the line, feeding into the girl boss narrative and hiring women to sit around at HR, telling men how they should conduct themselves in the workplace, even though they were the only ones that were actually doing the work. It's what made women sit around for about 5 years, believing they succeeded on merit, explaining life to people on the internet like this.
I'm always taking up for the fellas, but fellas, the ladies have a question. They said if we're cooking, we're cleaning, we're taking care of home, we're catering to you, we are making sure we're taking care of the kids, as well as while you're at work, because you work so much, I have to service my car, I have to run the errands, I have to do the grocery shopping, do and fold the laundry. What is it that you do? And I make my own money as a woman. What is it that you bring to the table other than paying the bills? And don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. Like, I can answer it, but I'm gonna let y'all answer it, because they want to know, fellas. And I'm always taking up for y'all, but y'all got to tell them.
Guys, the odometer's busted.
I just spent the day with my ex-boyfriend, and I came home, and my husband made the most amazing steak sandwiches.
And this is what women have been bringing to the table. They talk a big game about cooking, cleaning, groceries, childcare, etc. But all I see is a bunch of theater. Women pretending to earn money through skills, when all they've done is profit off of a blind system whose sole purpose is to make a nice pamphlet to promote how sexually diverse their company is. It ain't an effective system. It doesn't make any real progress. In fact, it's not really a system at all, and that's why so many got dumped back into the streets when it was no longer funded by feminist work programs. Meanwhile, men just keep doing what they do. And you know what's crazy, ladies? It works.
I want to be one of the greats.
And I would stop you from doing that.
Yeah.
Now, are you a rusher or are you a dragger?
I will take you down.
Gotta admit, great bagels is better than good bagels, right?
I will take you down.
I have the right to name my business whatever I want. Don't you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so you're Good Bagels, and right next door, I'm Great Bagels. I'm not doing anything wrong.
You're not doing anything right.
Let me tell you something. I was almost gonna name it Better Than Good Bagels. You like that one better?
No.
You are right, sir. Great bagels are better than good bagels, and that's something women will never understand, at least for a very, very long time. Guys, keep walking away and keep hustling in a way that will make your future family proud. Let the women have their programs. If the women hitting the wall have anything to teach us, it's that the well runs dry eventually. It's not our fault they can't see it coming. As always, I wish you tremendous success. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember that if you leave the best comment, you'll get $5. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads, drop a comment, and share it. See you in the next video. Till next time.